They say the elderly become invisible, but I wasn't fading. I was auditing. They think our eyes are failing, so they stop hiding their greed. They think our ears are fading, so they start whispering their sins. My name is Eleanor Vance. For 40 years, I was a forensic auditor for the federal government. I've spent my life tracking the money of drug lords and dictators. But I never expected that the most dangerous criminals I would ever face didn't wear masks or carry guns. They called me Mom, and they sat right across from me at the dinner table, waiting for me to die. I spent my life putting monsters in cages. I didn't realize I had given birth to 2 of them. They were picking out my coffin, so I started picking out their prison cells. Last Thanksgiving, the air in my dining room tasted like betrayal. My son Julian and daughter Clara didn't look at me with love. They looked at me like a real estate listing. I watched Julian's eyes scan my Degas painting, calculating the auction price. I heard Clara whisper in the kitchen, "The house alone is $4 million. How much longer can her heart possibly last?" They thought my hearing was gone. They didn't know I had high-fidelity recording devices hidden in the very walls they were trying to steal. The psychological warfare started small. My car keys moved from the counter to the trash. The stove left burning in the middle of the night. Julian would sigh, "Mom, you're losing it. You're a danger to yourself." He wanted me to doubt my own pulse. He wanted the neighbors to see a frail woman drifting into dementia. But I am an auditor. I don't guess, I verify. I checked the security footage and watched my own son sneak into my kitchen at 3 a.m. to turn on the gas, smiling as he hoped I'd never wake up. He wanted to burn the house down with me inside. I decided to burn his future instead. They brought a lawyer on a rainy Tuesday, a man with his suit more expensive than his ethics. They handed me a power of attorney, calling it protection. Clara stroked my hair, her fingers cold as a morgue slab. "Sign here, Mommy. Let us carry the burden." I looked at the document. I pretended my hand was shaking, dropped the pen, and watched the rage flash in Julian's eyes. That was the moment I knew they didn't want my care. They wanted my corpse. I didn't sign the paper. I signed their arrest warrants. Every night, when they thought I was sedated, I opened my secret vault. While they were browsing luxury villas in Ibiza with my money, I was auditing their souls. Julian, the tech genius, was running a massive Ponzi scheme, embezzling millions from pension funds to cover his gambling debts in Macau. He wasn't a CEO, he was a parasite. I spent weeks meticulously tracing every stolen cent. He thought I was a victim. He forgot I was the one who taught the FBI how to find people like him. He was looking for an inheritance. I was looking for a prison cell. Then there was Clara, my darling girl, the patron of the arts. I audited her foundation for the disadvantaged. It was a masterpiece of corruption. She was laundering money for a cartel, hiding blood money behind the faces of starving kids. I followed the wire transfers across 3 continents. I saw the designer bags bought with money meant for vaccines. She thought her mother was a frail old woman. She didn't realize she was being hunted by the best forensic accountant the government ever produced. Her foundation was built on lies. I was about to become the earthquake. They realized I wasn't signing, so they changed tactics. They hired a nurse, a cold-eyed woman named Martha. Every morning, she'd bring me a vitamin cocktail. I smelled the metallic tang of benzodiazepines, high doses meant to induce a chemical fog, a fake dementia. They were trying to erase my mind to steal my estate. I'd pretend to swallow, then spit the pills into the soil of my potted ferns. I watched my plants wither and die so I could stay awake to watch my children burn. The cost of survival was high, but the cost of revenge was priceless. The night before the court hearing, I invited them for dinner. One last meal. They were triumphant, already discussing how to sell my late husband's vintage car collection. They treated me like furniture. "Don't worry, Mom," Julian said. "The facility in Vermont is world-class." I just smiled and handed him a glass of wine. I had already sent the 500-page audit report to the district attorney. I wasn't losing my mind, I was losing my patience. They were celebrating their victory. I was counting down their final hours of freedom. Family court was packed. My children sat on one side, looking like grieving saints, their lawyer presenting forged medical records of my mental decline. I sat there, slumped in my chair, looking like a broken woman. The judge looked at me with pity. "Mrs. Vance, do you understand where you are?" I stood up. I took off my glasses. I straightened my back until I was the tallest person in that room. "I understand perfectly, Your Honor. And I believe the district attorney has some documents you should see." The frail old woman vanished. The forensic auditor had arrived. The judge's face went from confusion to horror as I presented the first set of documents, the true financial records of Julian's tech empire. I pointed at the screen. "That $4.2 million wasn't profit, Your Honor. It was stolen from teacher pension funds. And that /foundation/ my daughter runs? It's a laundromat for blood money." Julian's smirk evaporated. Clara began to hyperventilate. The silence in the room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I didn't just defend my sanity. I dismantled their lives. The final blow wasn't the numbers. It was the sound of their souls. I played the recording from my kitchen. The entire courtroom heard Julian ask if the sedatives would make me quiet enough to sell the house before Christmas. They heard Clara laugh about putting me in a facility without a phone. The sound of my own children debating my expiration date filled the room. The judge put his head in his hands. He didn't see two devoted children. He saw two predators who had cornered the wrong prey. The recording was the final nail in their gilded coffins. The judge didn't even need to deliberate. He dismissed the guardianship case immediately and ordered the arrest of Julian, Clara, and their bribed doctor right there in the courtroom. I watched the handcuffs click onto Julian's wrists, the same wrists I used to kiss when he was a baby. I felt a cold stone where my heart used to be. "I didn't do this to you," I whispered as they led them away. "You audited yourselves. I just filed the final report." Justice wasn't served. It was delivered by the hands of a mother. I didn't stop at the courtroom. I was the administrator of my late husband's estate. I foreclosed on Julian's condo. I revoked Clara's access to the family trusts. I liquidated their luxury cars, their designer clothes, and their stolen dreams. Within 48 hours, they had nothing. They were exactly what they called me, trash. Julian is in a maximum security prison now, sharing a cell with the kind of men he used to fear. He writes me letters begging for forgiveness. I return them unopened. He needs to learn that concrete doesn't care about your Harvard degree. He wanted to put me in a cage. Now he's the one behind the bars. His cell is the only inheritance he has left. Clara's downfall was more poetic. The boyfriend she was laundering money for? He vanished the moment the FBI stepped in, taking the last of her hidden cash. She's in a women's facility, working in the laundry, washing the very same white sheets she thought she was too good to touch. She traded a mother's love for a criminal's promise. She got exactly what she deserved, nothing. I sold the big house. It held too many ghosts. I moved to a small cottage by the lake. I called my lawyer and drafted a new will. Not a penny goes to anyone with the name Vance. My entire estate is now a foundation for elderly victims of family abuse. It's called the Silent Auditor Foundation. I want to make sure no other mother has to drink the poison of her own children's greed. My legacy isn't blood, it's justice. People ask if I regret sending my own children to prison. I look at the potted plants on my porch, the ones that lived because I refused to be sedated, and I feel only peace. A mother's job is to teach her children right from wrong. They failed the lesson, so they had to pay the tuition. I am no longer a mother to monsters. I am finally free. Love has a limit, and they crossed it. I sit on my porch now, watching the sunset. I have no children to call me, no legacy of name, and yet I've never been wealthier. I found my soul in the ruins of my family. To those who think the elderly are a burden to be managed, be careful. The hands that rocked your cradle are the same ones that can dismantle your life. My name is Eleanor Vance. The audit is finally over. The audit is closed. The truth is free. If you're listening to this and you think you can treat your parents like a bank account, take a good look at your bank statements. Are there numbers there that shouldn't be? Is there a trail of greed you think no one can follow? Remember, there is always an auditor in the room, and we are much sharper than we look. Be careful what you whisper in the dark. The sun is setting now, and for the first time in 35 years, I can breathe without fear. I have no millions, but I have my dignity. I have my Sarah's memory, and I have the truth. I lost my children, but I saved myself. This is my final report. Audit complete. End of file. The silent auditor has left the building.